All right, I got a little confession to make. I've been really dealing with these late night cravings. And if you're someone who's watching this video and you're dealing with late night cravings or cravings at any time of the day and you're trying to find a solution because maybe you're on a weight loss journey, but these cravings are just kicking your butt. Well, in this video, I'm gonna give you one thing that you can do that is gonna destroy your cravings and it's gonna keep you full and you're gonna continue to lose weight. My name is Tim Ernst. I'm an intermittent keto fasting coach who all the way back in 2018 lost about 70 pounds in 7 months doing a combination of keto, intermittent fasting, and strength training. And over the years, I've coached hundreds and hundreds of high-performing men over 40 to lose at least 40 pounds in 16 weeks using my Keto Shed 40 coaching program. If you want more info on that, I'll go ahead and put a link in the description. It'll take you to a video to kind of explain more in detail as to how I could potentially help you. Okay, so let's just start off and explain why a lot of people deal with cravings, why I'm currently dealing with cravings, and what you can do to stop cravings so you don't give in to your temptations and you can continue to lose weight. Now, I just said at the beginning of this video, I said I was a keto coach. Now, typically when you do a keto diet, that gets rid of cravings, that gets rid of hunger, and that makes it easier to lose weight. So why is it, me being a keto coach, why am I dealing with cravings? Well, it's a good question. As of right now, I am not doing a keto diet because if you've been watching me all this year, I've already reached my goal. I started at about 232 at the beginning of this year, and my goal was to get to 190. And I got there around March. I mean, I got there really, really quickly. I did a combination of keto, carnivore, alternate day fasting. I even tried the controversial sugar diet for like a month. So I've done all these different things to lose 40 pounds. Now, I got as low as 175. If you remember a few months back, I went on a cruise where my goal was to get to 175. An amazing trip, and if you saw it, I gained 25 pounds in 7 days. And then when I got back from the cruise, I lost those 25 pounds in 7 days. So that was completely nuts. So what I'm getting at is I'm already sitting between that 180 and 188. So I really have no reason to continue doing a keto diet. And that's something that you can look forward to when you reach your goal, is you can add some flexibility to your diet and not feel like you're being too restrictive. So that goes back to why I'm dealing with cravings. And it's because I'm eating things that sometimes are highly processed, carbohydrates, sugars, and this is what causes cravings, all right? This is why I like the keto diet, because when you take carbs and sugars out of the diet, your insulin levels are baseline. You don't have these spikes of your blood sugar and then having these crashes where you're tired and then you get hungry and you start eating again an hour, 2 hours later. All right, you ever notice that when you're eating something bad, about an hour goes by, you're eating more, and before you know it, you're totally wrecking your weight loss. So that's the beauty of the keto diet. It keeps that blood sugar low, the insulin low, and it makes it much more easier to lose weight. You automatically go into a calorie deficit because you're not constantly eating all day long. That's why I love keto, and you'll be doing intermittent fasting by accident because you're just so satisfied with, eating high-fat foods that you're just not going to be as hungry, which goes right into my point. A keto diet is very high in fat. About 75% of your calories are going to come from fat, 20% are going to come from protein, and 5% are going to come from carbohydrates, but really from fiber, so vegetables. What you can do to eliminate cravings is you're going to want to eat something at night instead of eating, potato chips and things like that and snacking, and giving into your cravings. Eat something that's high in fat. Here's what high fat foods will do. It slows down digestion. All right, so let's say you have a meal with protein and carbohydrates and you have some fat. Well, when you eat that fat, you're gonna be slowing down digestion of all those foods, your protein, your carbs, all of that. And this is why you may be struggling to lose weight, because your digestion is just dramatically slowing down if you're eating a meal that's protein, carbs, and a lot of fat, which you really don't wanna do. You wanna isolate, all right? You wanna just stick to protein and fat, and this is what's gonna help you lose weight. Because fat slows down digestion, it's going to keep you full. there are certain things that you can eat at night that is going to curb the cravings. This one thing that, and I'll show you, this one thing that I eat, this has saved me more times than I could count, is I will have 2 tablespoons. Are you ready for this? 2 tablespoons. Now you want to use this sparingly because you can overdo it and this can actually make you gain weight, and you don't want to do that, okay? You want to use this sparingly. 1 to 2 tablespoons of something like an all-natural peanut butter, okay? Now there's a misconception about peanut butter. People think it's a good source of protein. No, it's not. Peanut butter does have protein, but it has double the amount of fat than it has protein. There's actually a little bit of carbohydrates in peanut butter as well. But peanut butter is mainly a high-fat food, all right? So I've liked to use this one. Smucker's is really good. And you want to get the one that only has peanuts and salt. You don't want nothing else in it. You don't want palm oil and all this other garbage. They put sugar, palm oil. That stuff is horrible. You want an all-natural peanut butter. And if you can find some type of locally made peanut butter, like I found this one at my local grocery store. I think this one was like made in the USA in North Carolina. This doesn't even have salt. It literally just has ground peanuts. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of peanuts. It's one of the worst nuts that you can have. I like macadamia nuts, almonds, those kind of things. But when you're snacking on peanuts, not the best source of fat, all right? So this is why I will tell you 1 to 2 tablespoons is all you're gonna need. It's 190 calories for 2 tablespoons. Now, another mistake a lot of people make is they really put a hefty a spoonful of peanut butter on there, and it ends up being more than a tablespoon. It ends up being like 1.5. And you're thinking you're eating 2 tablespoons when you're probably eating 3 or 4. So you want to be very, very careful with that. This has saved me more times than I can count. When you take this, like I just said, anything that's high in fat, it's going to kill that craving. You're going to actually feel pretty satisfied and relatively full when you have 2 tablespoons of peanut butter because you're slowing the digestion down. It's keeping you more satisfied and full. So when you go to bed at night, you're not going to go to bed hungry. That is the number one thing that I used to use all the time is the all-natural peanut butter. And again, this is why I like the keto diet, because you're eating foods that are very high in fat, moderate protein, very low carb. You're going to feel more satisfied throughout the day. You're not going to feel so hungry, which means you're going to eat less. And when you eat less, it puts you in a calorie deficit. And we all know what happens when you're in a calorie deficit. You end up losing weight. Now, I know there's a lot of talk about, low-fat diets, all right? Low-fat diets can help you shed a lot of weight very fast. But you got to remember, when you're taking fat out of the diet, guess what happens? You're going to be hungry. You're going to find yourself wanting to eat more throughout the day. Now, this is a strategy that I do put in my Keto Shed 40 coaching program, where if I see someone stall in their weight loss, I tell them take the fat out for like 10 days and you will notice a dramatic difference that you'll start losing weight. However, I tell them if you're used to eating only 1 to 2 meals a day, you're probably going to have to add in a 3rd meal because there's no fat in the diet to keep you satisfied and full. So it can be a little tricky, all right? But you can use all these things are tools, guys. I know when I did the sugar diet, when I did carnivore diet, keto diet, these are all tools. These are not really meant to be long-term, but you just have more tools in your toolbox. So when you start to really get to know your body and how it responds, you have all these tools in your toolbox that you can use to help you continue to lose weight throughout the year, all right? So low-fat diets can work great. I'm a bigger fan of the high fat because it just keeps you more satisfied. And who really wants to eat all throughout the day doing a low fat diet? If you're eating like 2-3 meals throughout the day, now you got to stop, make food and all this kind of stuff. And you're going to notice you're just not as satisfied and you're going to continue to be hungry. And it's going to be a bit of a struggle when you do a low fat diet, because you got to remember, when you're eating just protein and carbohydrates, that's getting digested pretty quickly because you got no fat in the diet. Now, if you add fat to the protein and carbs, it's going to slow down digestion, which can make it difficult to lose weight. This is why when people eat processed foods like candy bars, cakes, all that stuff, it's got a combination of fats and sugars, which is diabolical, all right, to your weight loss. You will never lose weight eating highly processed foods. Now, I know there's been experiments with doing the Twinkie diet and all these different things, and people have lost weight. That's because they were just in a calorie deficit. But how healthy is that, to eat processed foods in a calorie deficit? Not the healthiest way to lose weight. I'm more into health and feeling good rather than just pounding a bunch of processed foods. All right, so I don't want to make this video any longer. If you're struggling with the late night cravings, 1 to 2 tablespoons of all natural peanut butter is going to do the trick. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to like it. It really helps the algorithm. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and always hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Until next time, I'll see you then.